Before that, though, if I could get you to direct your attention to the screen, please. Your teachers have gone over some rubrics with you, some expectations for how we behave in the classroom. We have those throughout the school this year for expected behavior in various areas, whether it's the locker room, the hallways, or in this case, for assemblies. So anytime we gather together as Princess Anne Panthers, and we have an assembly, which we will have several of those this year, these are the behaviors that we expect. Okay, so regarding being respectful in an assembly, that means having your eyes and your ears open, having our mouths closed and silent, directing our attention on the speaker, and finally sitting up nice and straight. Good job. Regarding being responsible during assemblies, prepare questions first and always consider whether or not those questions are appropriate. Raise your hand if you have a concern, and finally, save questions for the end of a presentation. And regarding safety in assemblies, remain seated at all times, listen to the directions of adults, and always keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. Okay? So with that in mind, for every assembly that we have at Princess Anne Middle School, welcome to your Orientation for Success. Again, my name is Principal Brown or Dr. Brown, whichever you choose to call me. And some other important people that I'd like to introduce to you today. First of all, your 7th grade assistant principal, Mr. Buckholz. There are 2 other assistant principals. They can't be with us right now because they're with their students in lunches and various places. But there's a 6th grade assistant principal. Her name is Miss Trumbull. And the 8th grade assistant principal, her name is Miss Morris. Even though Mr. Buckholz is your designated assistant principal, you may interact with or get help from any of the administrators in this building. Also, our student activities coordinator, Mr. Clark. All things regarding SOL, IPT, PSAT, testing, and remediation, Miss Bell. And finally, from the City of Virginia Beach Police Department, Officer Kreitzman. Your amazing Department of School Counseling and your 7th grade counselor, Miss Hinton. Also joining us today is the 6th grade counselor, Miss Burchett. And serving all students, Miss Watts. And the 8th grade counselor, I don't believe she is with us right now. Yes, she is, Miss McGinnis in the back. Although we don't have a picture of him, another important person is our instructional technology specialist who will be addressing you in just a moment, Mr. Nass. Okay, so everyone should have a half a sheet of paper. I am going to ask you to make sure that you have your name on it, that you filled out, and I've asked you a few questions. I personally am going to be reading each and every one of these. So please take it seriously. I'm asking for questions and or suggestions. So if any time during this assembly someone says something that you don't understand, what did that mean? You need clarification, please make sure that you write that down as a question. At the end of the assembly, we're going to be collecting those, and again, I will be reading each and every one of those and trying to give you some feedback. Okay, so a little bit about me. I have been an administrator for a while. So in Virginia Beach, I have been at Bayside Middle, Lansdowne Middle, Lynn Haven Middle, Cox High School, Tallwood High School, and for the last 6 years, I've been principal at Virginia Beach Middle School. And out of all those schools, I am so excited to be able to join you at Princess Anne Middle School this year. You have an amazing reputation for all the good work you do, not only in SOL scores, but in behavior, community service. The Panthers stand out in every way, and I'm so excited to be a part of this. For me, my husband and I have one son. His name is Nick, and he is a freshman at Virginia Tech. Are there any Hokie fans? Yes, excellent. I love that. So we love all things Hokie here. And then another very important part of my life is my 8-pound little black Yorkie poo. Super cute, and his name is Boz. So I will be telling you a lot about all the misadventures of Boz throughout the year. But again, very excited to work with you guys. Now, enough about me. I want to talk about you for a moment. Because being a Princess Anne Panther is quite, comes with that quite a responsibility. This is your school, and it's your responsibility to keep it clean, to keep it safe, and to keep it a happy place. So the first thing that you have to do to help us is that if you see something or you hear something that you know is not quite right, you need to make sure that you're communicating that to an adult. Guys, that's your responsibility. I can't know everything that's going on, you do. So you have to communicate with adults. Secondly, your teachers, you have, and I've been around, you have the best teachers in the city of Virginia Beach. Is that right? Yes. And if you look around you, all of these teachers are working nonstop to try to prepare lessons for you. It is the least you can do. You have got to give them your best, 100% all the time. You listen to their instructions, do your homework, you study for tests, and you give them 100% all the time. That is what I expect of you regarding your teachers. And finally, always be nice to everyone. We are all different, and that's all right. You might be a dancer, you might be an athlete, maybe you like art, maybe you like video games, anime. We're all different, and it's okay. There will be people in this school that don't like you. That's fine. There will be people in this school that you don't like, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, we have to be nice to each other. That is the expectation for how we behave in this school. Our expectations for you. Now, expectations for ourselves. First of all, what are we going to do for you? These are promises. First of all, we're going to keep this school safe for you. The second promise is that you're going to be accepted here and you're going to be supported. So if you need help, you go to an adult. If someone's being unkind to you or you're just having issues, whether it's at school or somewhere else, if it's a stressful time, just come to an adult and you're going to be supported here. Know that every administrator, teacher, faculty member in this school chose to be at Princess Anne Middle School. This is where we want to be. And we want to be here because of you. And we want to help you. And then I'm going to conclude with these remarks. Please know that I understand middle school sometimes is a very, very difficult place. It seems like yesterday that my own son was there, and I remember his struggles. It's not always fun and games. I know you have a lot of work. You have responsibility. You've got your parents sometimes nagging you. You've got teachers. You've got administrators that have expectations for you. So I know sometimes it can be stressful. Again, I can't stress enough, when it gets that way, come to an adult. Know, too, it can be a fun and exciting place, so get involved. You're going to hear about a lot of great things that we have going on at this school, so get involved and make the most of being at the best school of the beach, Princess Anne Middle School. So, welcome, Panthers. With that, I'm going to turn it over to your school counselor, Ms. Hinton, for a few comments.
Hi, everybody. That was good. Y'all did better than the other groups, I gotta tell you, because they were like, and I didn't get any love. So thank you. That was awesome. You know, the biggest change, and I know some of you are thinking about that right now, is that you all are trapped with me this year. It's a little bit of a switch in this counseling office, so we have restructured it. So I have all of you. And you can come and see anybody in the office if I am not available. You know we have the other counselors there, and a lot of you know Miss Watts as well. So she's always there if I'm not available to help out. And of course, so is Miss Brochette and Miss McGinnis. And we're going to be working together this year talking about careers. Of course, we're going to be talking about academics, right? That's why you're here. And we're going to be talking about college and what it takes to get there. We, of course, are still going to be talking about conflict resolution. You all know that we feel like it's important if you have an issue with each other that we try to get that worked out in a really positive way. We're going to continue with that this year, and we'll work with you on any social issues that might be going on. So when can you come to see us? You can come down to the counseling office during PAMS time, of course, is when we prefer that you do that so that you're not missing any time in class. If it's an emergency, truly an emergency, so not when you need a schedule change or something like that, but really when there's something that you can't wait to talk to somebody about, get a pass from your teacher and you can come down anytime to see us for an emergency. Okay, so PAMS time, that's a good time to work on homework, to get makeup work from your core teachers. That's a good time to take care of things that would interrupt class. So getting that makeup work then instead of doing it during class time is really a good way to manage your time. You can come to the counseling office and see me or anyone in there, and you can visit the library to check out books or work on projects. They've got a lot of cool makerspace stuff in the library, so check that out during your lunches. Okay, and then honor roll. I worked in a lot of schools in the city of Virginia Beach, and you all really work hard to maintain honor roll and principals list. And there's always a really large group when Ms. Watts gets everybody together for principals list, and we're really proud of you for that. I just want to remind you, working on honor roll means you're always striving to have grades that are higher than a C-. If you earn a C-, unfortunately, that does drop your GPA low enough that it is not considered honor roll. Same is true for principals list if you have an A-, and it's not that that A- isn't the most beautiful grade in the world, but for principals list, you must earn straight A's with no A-. Okay, remember we have AM Homework Center. That's a good time to get things done, guys. If you need to, either your parents are dropping you off early, you can get some work done then, or if you know you need to get some things done, it's a nice quiet environment for you to get work finished in the morning. And then we also have the Homework Center and tutoring that starts in October. So if you need tutoring, guys, I want you to remember something. Normally your parents would have to pay for that, and we offer it here to all of you. All you need to do is show up to tutoring with the work you don't understand. That part's key. You can't just go in there and say, help me learn math. Take your homework with you. Say, I did this last night, I didn't understand number 5, number 7, and number 8. And whoever is working with you in the tutoring session will be happy to help you with that. All right, guys, we're going to have a great year, and I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Clark.
Good afternoon, everybody. What we're going to do now is just take a little time to talk about some of the opportunities that you'll have during this school year to join clubs or any of our sports after school. As you know, we have an array of clubs for you guys to join. Here's just a couple. Our art club. We also have our golf club for those of you who want to play golf. That'll take place in the spring when it warms back up. Very important club for you to join is our SEA, because like I say, our SEA builds our school. We have a Rachel's Challenge Club, fitness club, and a lot of other clubs that you'll have an opportunity to join. If you'd like a list of those, you can stop by the front office and get the list. You can stop by my office and get a list of them, or you can stop by the guidance department and get a list of them. Well, counseling department, I'm sorry, to get a list of them. Here are a couple opportunities that you'll have to participate in our interscholastic activities, meaning you'll have to try out for these teams. Once you make these teams schedules together, and you'll participate and play against the other 13 middle schools here in Virginia Beach. But to do that, you must be deemed eligible. First of all, as you know, if you're going to try out for one of the sports, you must have a sports physical on file with me. Sports physicals will be held before every single season. So if you don't have the sports physical now, you want to try out for something else, don't worry, you'll have that opportunity before that season begins to try out for, to get a physical. Physical forms, you can stop by my office and pick one up, or you can go to the main office to get a copy of a physical form. To be deemed eligible, as you know now, you must have a 2.0, at least a 2.0 GPA to participate in activities. Just keep in your head, understand that we are on a 10-point grading scale, and a C- is considered a 1.7, not a 2.0. So if you have all C's on your report card and 1 C minus, you will fall below the 2.0 GPA, so you will not be eligible. So y'all make sure that y'all pay attention to your grades when you're going through that. Some of the activities you'll have the opportunity to participate in. As you know, right now we have our football team is going on, so make sure you support them. Boys and girls soccer team is going on right now. And we have our cheerleading squad. For those of you who want to join our cheerleading squad, just understand that tryouts will take place in June of 2019 for next school year. So just make sure that you keep that in your head, and we will announce that. And we have our One Act Play activity going on right now. So tryouts for that begins next week. All right, second 9 weeks. Go back. Second 9 weeks. Well, don't need that. Second 9 weeks, we have our boys and girls basketball team that you'll have the opportunity to try out for. And we also have our academic challenge team. Now, academic challenge, for those of you that are interested in trivia, that'll be an activity that you would want to join. Third 9 weeks, we'll have wrestling for boys and girls. Girls, you are allowed to wrestle if you like. Volleyball will only be for girls, sorry. But boys, we will play volleyball during our intramurals activity. So if you want to get some kind of volleyball in, we'll do it there. We'll also have our debate team if you like to argue points. Fourth 9 weeks, which will be late March, we'll have field hockey only for girls. We have softball for girls. We'll have baseball for boys. We'll have boys and girls track, and we'll also have an activity called forensics, which is a public speaking activity for those of you who want to one day be in front of a large crowd and maybe speak out like that. And now at this time, I will pass the mic to Mr. Noss.
Hello, in the 7th grade. I am Mr. Noss, one of your instructional technology specialists. I'm going to be talking to you about a tool that you're going to be receiving soon. And one thing I want to point out, it's going to be given to you, which means you don't own it, and with that comes some responsibility. You will be getting a Chromebook, a charger, in a case. It's the expectation you keep it in the case. That's going to protect it most. I'm not going to ask how many people had damage last year, but I will talk about 2 ways it was happening. Number one was putting things in the case and closing it, like a pencil, and then it cracked the screen. And number two, how we were carrying it. If it was on the table, you'd go and pick it up by the screen, putting your thumb on the screen, putting a lot of pressure, and it cracked. Those are the 2 things I saw the most last year. If you're going to move around with your Chromebook, just close it and use the handles. That's the best way to keep it protected. Especially in the hallways, it is expectation you don't walk around with your Chromebook open. I said that you're going to be given it, you also be given a charger, and it's expected that you make sure you come to school with it charged every day. Talking about the responsibility of it, there's a lot of things we should not be doing on our Chromebook. I can stand here for 15 minutes or more telling you what not to do. We will be putting some lessons out about being a good digital citizen, but what I want to point out here is the school board policy when you use their technology. If we take a look at the things that are up there, promote educational excellence, resource sharing, innovative instruction and communication, and to prepare you for the 21st century. That's what we should be focusing on. We don't want to be bullying, having a negative impact, social media. Let's focus on what we should be doing. That being said, I want you to be aware that because it is a school-issued technology, there are monitoring procedures in place. At any time, your teachers, even your parents, can request what sites you have been on. Clearing your browsing history does not clear that. Once you go to a site, a log is kept. So keep that in mind. You want to be using your Chromebook for the purposes your teachers have in place in the classroom. We will be putting out some lessons about being a good digital citizen. Look for those, and we'll be teaching about how to do that. Again, focusing on what we should be doing, and let's not worry about what we shouldn't be doing. Okay? All right. The last person who's going to talk to you in the back is Officer K. Oh, she's in the front. Here she is.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You guys obviously all pretty much know me already since you were here last year. But if you don't, or you're new, I'm Officer Kreitzman. Officer K is way easier for you to say. My office is right next to the clinic, right over in the main entrance. But if I'm not in there or you want to come find me, the main office can always walk me, figure out where I can meet you at, anything like that. Only thing I really wanted to say was I'm obviously here for your safety. That's my main job here, why I'm here every day. So if you hear anything that might be suspicious or possibly threatening in regards to anybody else or somebody threatening to harm themselves or something like that, please let somebody know, whether it's me, one of your school counselors, administration, anything like that. And I had something else to say, but I don't remember what it was. So, yes, let's have a great school year. Thanks.
She doesn't remember what she had to say. But she has 3 dogs, so round of applause for her 3 dogs. And she actually has professional photos of them as if they were her own children. So if you would like to see those pictures, ask her at any time. So, I am, not yet, later. Sorry, I should have said any time. But I will remind you of our expectations, and I know that this is kind of a long time to be hearing adults speaking, and I noticed us kind of slumping a little bit in our seats, which is totally understandable because I was doing it against the wall. So at this time, what I'd like for you to do is reposition and straighten up as tall as you can get without bouncing in our seats ridiculously. And good. All right, so that said, one thing that we will be doing this year are focusing on our expectations. Every Panther, every day, is going to be working towards being respectful, responsible, and safe. This is true for every student, this is true for every adult, and this is true for every member of our community. Now, one thing I need you to understand is that respect, responsible, and safe are going to support us when we're trying to be kind, when we're trying to empower each other, when we're trying to share important things or ideas, being thoughtful towards others, and trying to build a strong sense of community. That's what it means to be a Panther. We have one heart in this school, and you are all a part of it. And that heart means that we are respectful, we are responsible, and we are safe in the classroom, in the hallway, in the restroom, in the cafeteria, and assemblies, and during drills. So what I want for you to do for me right now, when I say one heart, you're going to say one beat, and you're going to clap twice. Are you ready? One heart.
One beat.
One heart.
One beat.
One heart.
One beat.
Except for him. He's flatlined, but it's okay. Moving forward. One heart, one beat means that we're going to accept each other for things that we share in common and for things that we don't share in common, things that make us different and unique. Differences don't make us bad, they make us unique. And we need to appreciate that in one another and recognize that each one of us has something to contribute to this school and to this community. So treat every person with respect and kindness. Keep your hands and feet to yourself and unkind words. Think before you post, tweet, or text something because those are permanent and they are hurtful. And I know that some of you came down to my office or the counselor's office or to your teacher last year with their feelings hurt. Nobody should have to come into school that way. Everyone should be feeling empowered and safe when they enter this building. That means no mean or rude comments are ever acceptable, ever. It pays nothing, it costs nothing to be kind. It's free. Moving forward. So, whether it's the cafeteria or the hall or the bathroom, your classroom, assembly, or drill, we do have some expectations. And you'll notice it's broken up into 3 blocks. The top block is how we be respectful, the second is how we're responsible, and the third is how we're safe. And we've already talked about these in the cafeteria. One thing that I ask you to do at all times in the cafeteria is to remain what? Seated. Also, when I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, what am I looking for at the end of that? Silence. And I don't do these things because I want to irritate you or end your conversations that are really good, I'm sure. I do it because it's a safety concern, because I have a message I need to get out, and I need you seated so that we're not slipping or bumping into each other and causing conflict, and so that way I can kind of have a vantage of everybody to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to. Those are the reasons we do it. Next environment. Hallways and stairwells. Nothing has changed since last year. We are to walk on what side of the hall and what side of the staircase? the right side. And I know it seems like sometimes we have a place to be very quickly, but going around to the left doesn't necessarily mean it's the safest way to go. So on the right at all times helps with the flow of traffic. The other thing about safety for hallways, please never, ever, ever open an exterior door for any adult. A staff member, a police officer, anybody in uniform. All the adults in this building know that they are to report to the front entrance if they don't have a key or a card. So I know it seems like we're being kind by opening the door, because that's what your parents and that's what we've taught you. Open the door for somebody, that's nice. But in this environment, all the adults know they have to go to the very front of the building. And we don't want you opening doors for people we don't know, or people you do know. They know they should be going to the front of the building at all times. Okay? On the bus, safety is a huge risk, right? Because you are driving in a huge vehicle on the road with other moving cars. Talk about safety. If we're distracting and talking and yelling and throwing and getting up and cussing or shoving, any of those behaviors that we don't want to see, what does the bus driver have to do? They have to stop the bus, or they're having to turn around, and they have to shout something, and where are their eyes not looking? On the road, which is what they should be doing. So that's why we ask you to be respectful, responsible, and safe on the bus, to make sure you get from point A here to point B home, or vice versa, safely every day. Next. Restrooms and lockers. We ask again, very easy rule, 3 steps. Flush, wash, leave. Flush, wash, leave. I use the restroom, I flush the potty, I go wash my hands, I throw the trash away, and I walk out. I don't hang out there to talk. I don't look over at what other people are doing. I'm not writing some messages on the wall. I'm not making some paper wads and throwing against the wall or trying to clog the toilet. That's incredibly rude to people who are using the restroom, and that's incredibly rude to the people who are responsible for keeping a clean and safe restroom. Okay? Next. And last but not least, Chromebooks and technology. I can't tell you how many students have gotten into a little bit of trouble for the way that they've used their Chromebook irresponsibly. One, it's not safe when we're accessing sites that are inappropriate. And we keep record of what those sites are. So just like Mr. Knott said, if you're trying to delete the history, we have it saved in a different location. So while it looks like it's gone off your computer, we have a history that never goes away. And your parents are actually able to start getting reports on the sites that you visit. So just because you think you're getting away with it in class because the teacher doesn't see it, doesn't mean that a report isn't finding their way home or to the principal. So know that that's something that you need to be aware of. So policies and procedures. We've talked about all the things we should be doing. We're going to talk about some things outside of that. Every person in this auditorium has a choice. And choices have what types of consequences? There are good consequences and there are bad consequences. But ultimately it depends on what you make. The choices you make. You all made a choice to come to school today. Whether or not you realize it, you chose to come here. That's a great consequence. Imagine if you chose not to come here, those consequences wouldn't be looking so hot for you right now. So every day you have a choice. Make sure we're making the right one and make sure it fits with the expectations we have for you. If you don't, those are some of the consequences that you could have received. Lunch detention for 3 days. Wednesday detention, Saturday school, ISS, OSS, expulsion. These are all options on the table. And you can look at those on pages 23 and 24 in your agenda, in your planner. And it'll spell out specifically what the consequences are for some of the behaviors that we don't want to see happen. Okay? Dress code. There's nothing new here. This has been similar since last year. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are wearing leggings to school, we need to make sure that the shirt or dress that is on your body or the skirt is actually appropriate in length to cover up the leggings. Remember that we need the 3-inch inseam, something long enough to cover areas that we shouldn't be seeing. Pajamas are not permitted. Jeans with rips that come above the knee are not permitted. Short shorts, things that are permitted at all times. Shorts that are fitted appropriately. Jeans without rips below the knee, or I should say above the knee. T-shirts, capri pants. If you have questions about what is appropriate at school in terms of what you can wear, take a picture of the outfit and bring it in. The last thing I want to do is for you to walk into school and have that moment where a teacher sends you down and I have to tell you, you have to go get your gym shorts. Or you have to call home to get a new pair of clothes. If you have a question, when in doubt, seek me out with a photo and I'll give you an okay or a maybe next time. All right, rolling. Prohibited items. None of these have really changed except I want to reiterate one thing. Our custodians worked super hard on making our school clean this summer, and you may have noticed that our lockers appear maybe a little bit brighter than they did before. Well, that's because we really went through and we scrubbed the lockers down and we picked off stickers and mirrors and things of that nature. So no stickers, either on the outside or the inside of your locker, are going to be permitted. No writing messages on your lockers. Okay? Those things damage the lockers and it make it super hard to keep it clean so that when you get back, you have a nice locker to come to. And the other thing too is that fast food is not going to be prohibited. So if we're rolling in with a bag of fast food in the morning and some Starbucks or McDonald's comes to the desk for you for lunch, we're not going to be distributing that to you. We have food allergies in this building that you may not be aware of. A friend next to you may have something that you don't know what's going on. So those things will not be permitted. Okay? Cell phones, and this is very important. The policy really hasn't changed. Every zone is a red zone. Every zone. Because you have a Chromebook now if you need to access the internet. If you absolutely have to call mom or dad about parent pickup or a meeting that you forgot or you have an emergency, you may certainly ask to use the phone at the end of the day. Or your teacher may permit you to come down maybe during PAMS time to make that call. But you cannot use a cell phone to make that call. It should be off and placed where? In your locker. And don't share lockers. There were some of us who were doing that last year and some of our things disappeared. So for another safety concern around lockers, don't share lockers. You never know who's going in. I know, right? So, rolling. Planners, you have to have it every day. Don't share your planner with another student. Your planner or agenda is yours. If you lose it, it's $8, and I have no problem hooking you up with one. Just bring that $8 to the main office and we'll get you a new one. But this is going to be your passport, your pass throughout all parts of the building. And if you walk outside of class without a signed agenda or a signed planner, they're the same thing, I'm going to send you back. Okay? Next. Parent pickup and drop off. Parent pickup and drop off for the normal day is still the same. It's going to happen at the back of the building by the gym. And the doors are going to unlock for 9:10 for students. But if for some reason you come in a little bit earlier than an adult opens for you, where do you go? Cafeteria. Right, you guys know the drill. One thing I do want you to know that's different this year, and for those students who are in Zero Bell, you already know this. Zero Bell students are being dropped off at the front of the building this year at Homework Center by the cafeteria. So safety. You've heard this word over and over and over again. You heard it from Dr. Brown, you heard it from Officer K, you heard it from Mr. Noss, you heard it from me. Safety is a #1 priority. If you hear or see anything suspicious or threatening, tell an adult immediately. Don't sit on it. Don't go, well, maybe he was just joking. Or, well, she said that before. If something is threatening or something seems wrong or maybe suspicious, you need to tell someone so we can take care of it immediately. And it could just be a conversation with that person about what's funny, what's not, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. But we can never take a chance of just sitting on it. Never open an exterior door for anyone. Follow all of your teachers' expectations. And last but not least, we are going to have drills so you know exactly what to do in the event of an emergency. As a matter of fact, we may get practice with that today. Rolling forward. Absences from school. How many of you were absent last year? Woo, Lord. All right, so at least one of you had an absence, but here's the expectation for that. How many of you knew you had to bring in a letter for explaining the absence? Okay. Hands up if you know where that letter was supposed to go. Okay, so I'm going to ask you. All right, it's supposed to go to the office. There's a basket in the main office by Miss Ciola where you put your absence letter. If you don't know or feel uncomfortable about that procedure, ask your teacher and they can help you find that. But there's a metal basket in the main office that you drop it off. We need that letter within 3 school days just to make sure you're okay. And really, we need your name, the date of the absence, and the reason why you were absent. So please remind your parents, if for any reason you were absent because you were sick, or maybe your family took a vacation, or maybe you had a mental health day, you make sure that your parent logs that absence, writes a letter, and turns it in so we know you're okay. At the end of the day, and the end of every day, in my house, in our house, that is Princess Anne, you will be respectful, responsible, and safe. And we know this because we all have one what? And that one heart has one, and that one beat sounds like? It sounds like? One more time. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Buckles. I did want to add one other thing about lunches. So when I first arrived here, one of the conversations that I had with the administrative team, we talked about a lot of different things, but we did talk about lunches. And there were some concerns expressed with last year, maybe behavior, organization, structure, and the like. And that's the reason that we decided this year to go to team seating rather than free seating. Know that you do have the option to earn free seating. I'm going to be in contact with the assistant principals, so for you guys, it will be Mr. Buckles, regarding your behavior in the cafeteria, the organization, and things like that. And then we will definitely look to, if there's an interest from you, look to maybe moving back to free seating if that's a viable option for us, okay? So I did want to address that. Now, if you would please take out that half sheet of paper, and if you would make sure that you have your name on it, it's filled out. If you have questions or suggestions, write those down. And in about 1 minute, I'm going to ask you to pass those papers down to the end of your row, and your teachers are going to come around and collect those from you. Okay, so take about 1 minute to finish that up, and then we will collect them from you.